Yeah. Well, first of all, I just want to say that whoever wrote poetry aloud, it wasn't me behind me, but little smiley faces and all the characters and stuff. I'm like, that sounds like somebody stupid creative would do something like that. It wasn't me. So,
and you know what? I just love it.
I know, John's like, I'm good at this, right? I'm like, perfect, whatever. I have pieces that were written from different events or things that I saw going on, and I believe learning about people from their journals in the past might be something about people's histories as well. So I'm going to share, first of all, Journals Extinguished, which was written on the day in 1824 of the burning of Lord Byron's journals.
Who did it?
Pardon me?
Who did it?
You will find out.
Okay, I'm just...
Don't be so anxious.
I'm anxious.
Patience sometimes.
Yeah, patience is sometimes valuable.
Yes, yes.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. The other day, I walked into my library, walked over to a shelf off to the side, reached down and took one of my journals. I opened it up on a random page, and I started to read about the struggles of the time. And I saw the commas, long dashes, and ellipses I ever so abundantly used in my copy. Because even in ranting about my minutiae, I knew when a pause was necessary to let the reader weigh the thoughts about everything the writer had to say. And yes, I may start sentences with and, or but, or because, since new sentences are often a continuation of the last thought, and the thinking never stops. I may get grandiose with the way I splice my sentences, but I know I'm not the first. Lord Byron was a British poet, politician, and a man who led the Romantic movement. But if you look at his writings, he knew the power of the ellipses, and it was all the power of making readers pause to make the poem be a part of themselves, and therefore make the poem unique for every reader. This poet knew this, and he also knew to keep people guessing about his personal life as well. So after he passed away, at 36 years old, colleagues of his publisher, a fellow poet, and his companion all decided that to reveal truths in his journals would be too much for the world. So, page by page, they burned all his diaries.
No.
Knowing the power of the written word and the power in the hands of a gifted writer, that journal burning has been called more than once the greatest crime in literary history.
Yeah.
And yes, as I look at my handwritten writings, taking a shelf of books in my library that no one else in the world will probably ever read, as a writer, I can still think that these journals are necessary, and they are necessary for anyone who knows anything about literature and the writer's mind. We'll never know what was written in Lord Byron's burned journal pages, but maybe, just maybe, when writing like this is taken away, maybe this can help us to understand how essential the written word can be.
Yeah.
I thought that would be a good segue to sharing this poem with you, called Volumes of Flames While the Spirit Lives. This was written about censorship on the anniversary of the day the Nazis in Germany staged a massive public book burning of un-German books. So that was written on this day, so we'll see how this one goes. You claim to be well-intentioned when your only desire is to destroy our spirits. You call it decency, morality, but we call it a lack of morality if you choose to squelch every idea other than your own. You may want to consign to flames hundreds of thousands of books, but there is only so much burning you get done in one night, no matter how many peons you can get into a fervor to help you. I don't care what you think, but you cannot burn our spirit. We will remember these books. We will remember this act, and we will remember what you have done to us. You're trying to take away our freedoms, which means you're trying to rob our minds. And there are still those among us who cherish reading these books and who revel in creating these books. This is robbery, thievery, and you cloak under what you call good intentions. you think we'll forget, but this is what I want you to remember. Your childish act of destruction is only temporary. Remember this, because I don't care how many fires you set or how many books you burn. You will never destroy our spirits.
Right.
Remember this.
Right.
That is a big old stretch from the history of things, or from keeping them for that. This is, I guess, well, I won't tell you. It's called Visiting and Seeing the Signs. My grandmother was moving away. I was out of town, so I could only call. And when I got off the phone, I told her I would be visiting where she was moving to. I could go and see her in maybe 6 months. We didn't talk much as I got older, so right about then, when we were going to get off the phone, she said, "I love you." And I said, "I love you too." I never get this way, but after I hung up the phone, I cried. After that, for 3 days, when I could walk down the street or look out every window, I would see clouds of black birds and feathers in my darkened skies. Every time I walked outside, a biblical apocalypse swarmed over me, and for the life of me, I didn't know why. After 3 days, I went back to visit my siblings, living only a 2-hour drive away, before I took a flight to see my parents. And when I walked through the door to see my sister, my father was there. I walked down the marble tiled floors to meet him and hug, and when we embraced, I said, "Grandma's dead." Because the heavens were giving me the signs for days while she was fighting with her doctors to check her again. And because they wouldn't listen to an old white woman, her symptoms were treated like nothing, weren't treated, and she died before I even came back. I know I cried for her days ago, but I will cry for her again and again. And now I will not question when I'm shown the signs again. Oh, I've got chocolate, please. Give it up.